5, 4, 3, 2. God damn you bastards. Hello, everyone.
Dion
Welcome.
loves shit.
Welcome to Jupiter's CROCK, episode 6 of Gods of the Arena, The Bitter End. I am joined by Spartacus.
Yep, hello.
Ronicus.
It's Interrupticus, you fuck.
Interrupticus. God damn it, I can't get anything right. And clearly, Magnetocus, who has decided to show up and fuck up the Zencaster, apparently. So,
I want that audio used for something.
I will try to put that audio at the very beginning because I caught just a little bit of you guys saying it, but I have no idea if it recorded. So we'll see what happens here. So we are wrapping up Gods of the Arena. It went way too fast. I almost wish that this season was like 10 episodes like the other ones. But Spartacus, take it away.
There is a lot of shit going on in this episode, so feel free to step in if I miss something.
Interrupticus will, for sure.
Yeah, Interrupticus will. Titus is dead. They're having a funeral for him, and Vedius shows up. That little cocksucker Vedius. I fucking hate his face.
Weasley eyes?
He shows up and says, hey, I'm here to pay my respects, but also, before he died, your dad said he was going to sell us Gannicus, and Vedius blows up. It's like, you come to me on this fucking day about this, and Vedius is like, we've already given you like 8 days to figure your shit out. Like, the mourning period is over. Give us Gannicus.
Steve, I'm sorry this bad thing happened to you, but remember you're going to sell me that Transformer. I really want that Transformer, dude.
So Badiatus is in mourning over the loss of his dad. Onomaus is in mourning over the loss of Melita. Gannicus shows up to meet with him, and I don't think Animaeus ever Animaeus doesn't find out in this prequel series what actually happened between the two of them, but Gannicus tells him, hey, she loved you the most. She's always gonna want you, and blah blah blah. He's not confessing his guilt, but he's trying to be there for Onomaus as best he can. So after the funeral, I guess Badiatus brought the body outside by the cliff where his ludus is, and he's gonna have just some fights to send his father onto the afterlife. He also says that it's a brand new day. Like, we're not bound to the rules that my father set, so none of you are actually going to be sent to the mines, even if you lost all of your fights in that tournament. Sure. And so when Badiatus says this, the newly one-eyed Dagon looks at Asher and smiles, and Asher's like, ah, shit. So Asher thought that he was going to be at least somewhat safe, but no, Dagon's not going anywhere. So now Badiatus has to hatch this scheme. He believes
always scheming.
Yes, he believes that Tullius killed his dad with the poison wine. I don't think he ever finds out through the entire rest of this series as a whole that it was actually Xena, but he is going to kill Tullius, and so he hatches this scheme with Salonius, and good Salonius, and so good Salonius is going to go to Tullius and tell Tullius, hey, Badiatus is trying to sell Gannicus to another far away ludus, so you can't have him. Like, he knows he can't keep him, but he doesn't want you to have him, so he's going to sell Gannicus to these Syrian slavers, and he'll just say that Gannicus escaped, and so you will never see Gannicus. And Tullius is just fucking irate at this point. Like I said, he is obsessed with having Gannicus. I don't know why
he flips a table.
He wants Gannicus. He flips a table. He threatens to cut Salonius's face off. But Salonius convinces him, hey, I know where the meeting is happening. We can get there. And so Badiatus shows up. Then Tullius shows up. Tullius and Vedius show up. And Badiatus's men surround Tullius and kill all of them except for Tullius. Tullius and Vedius. So Salonius kidnaps Vedius and is going to try to force Vedius to provide an alibi or an excuse for why Tullius isn't there. Badiatus, meanwhile, he and the rest of his guys, which include Oenomaus and Gannicus, who also think that Tullius is responsible for the deaths of Titus and Melita, uh, they beat the shit out of Tullius, tie him up, and they take him to the newly constructed arena.
I
And
love watching Tullius
this,
get his ass beat.
oh,
By the way,
it's so good. It's so cathartic watching what
yes.
happens to this piece of shit.
Even though he
It's
didn't do any of this.
even though he didn't do any of it.
Even though this beating for this particular reason not warranted. Nope, not
Doesn't
warranted at
matter.
all.
Tullius is so shitty that we don't care if he takes the fall for the one scheme he wasn't involved with. Uh, but so Bodiatus and Tullius have like their final conversation, and Tullius tries to like talk him down. It's like, hey, you know what, Bodiatus, you beat me. I underestimated you. Let's talk
GG.
this out. Yep, GG, good game. So Bodiatus like humors him for a minute, and he's like, all right, so what are you offering? And Tullius says, well, you can keep Gannicus, and I will make sure he fights in the arena. Uh, and Bodiatus just says, offer more. And Tullius is like, well, here's this other thing that you want. I don't remember what he says. Maybe, I don't know, continued placement in the games. It doesn't matter. Money, whatever. And then Bodiatus is like, offer more. And Tullius says, just name what you want, and I will make sure that you have it. And Bodiatus says, I want to see you suffer. And so first Bodiatus like calls out Tullius for killing his dad, and Tullius has no idea what he's talking about, but it doesn't matter. Tullius kind of knows what's going to happen at this point. Uh, so after this last dialogue, Bodiatus stabs Tullius in the gut, informs Tullius that, hey, we're going to make Vettius provide an excuse for why you're not here. So Tullius is like, when people know what you did to me, they're going to come for you. And Bodiatus is like, no one's ever going to know, and stabs Tullius. Oenomaus and Gannicus continue to stab Tullius in the gut, and then they made a hole in the wall of the arena, and they stick Tullius in it and like brick it up while Tullius is still alive.
So good.
Holy shit, this is so fucking good.
It's so good.
Meanwhile, good Salonius, I can't say that too many more times. He is with Vettius, and good Salonius tells Vettius, you are going to go to the arena and you are going to tell people that Tullius had to unexpectedly leave, and then you are going to follow him. And if you don't make this happen, we are going to kill you because you no longer have Tullius protecting you. And Vettius, he hates it, but he agrees. Let's see what else happens prior to the actual games. Xena starts eyeing up Navia, and she makes Navia take Melita's place. So she is like the body slave, I think is what it's called. Basically, like
There's a
Navia
word
is.
for it. I forget
Yeah.
what it is.
I think it was body slave, but regardless, it's like it's Xena's main slave, and Xena
Be
tells
by
her
my
that
side at all times.
yes, you will never leave my side, and so that sets up Navia's character.
If you're
In
Navia, are you
season
like, I don't want this promotion?
one. This kind of sucks, gotta say.
I will say though that I love the character of Melita. I didn't really touch on this and then, but it was really sad when she died last episode. I was just like, oh man, that sucks, because another thing that this
She
show
is
does.
the most innocent. Like her and Diona are like the most innocent characters in this show that shitty things happen to.
Yeah, when good characters die, that's what really hits. And so rest in peace, Melita.
Yes. So I think this is the episode. Yeah, it's the final episode of this. This is the episode where Xena goes to fuck Crixus again and has him like get a haircut. So I think that's everything that happens like up to like the games, and the games are going to be in the new arena, and prior to it was supposed to be like a bunch of Bodiatus's men and a bunch of Vettius's men, but Vettius shows up and he does exactly what Salonius tells him to do, and so he says, hey,
Sly Salonius.
Yep. Tullius had to leave. And also I'm going to follow behind him. And I'm leaving the gladiator business. And Bodiatus is like, oh, that's a shame. Hey, I don't want you to go away empty-handed. The good Salonius and I we'll each buy half of your men. And Vettius is like, oh no, don't worry about it. Salonius already bought all of them. And so this is the point where Salonius stops being good Salonius and he becomes Salonius with a spine.
And
Because
we,
this is the good.
yeah, we should point out, because I don't know if we touched on it last episode, but Batiatus gets in Salonius's face and basically insults his entire existence,
That
right?
was the beginning
And
of this episode in the funeral.
whenever the fuck it was.
There's a point where Batiatus tells, because Salonius is trying to keep the peace. Salonius, even though he counts Batiatus as a good friend, he has much more in common with Titus. Like he's fine sucking up to the powerful Romans. Like he is perfectly okay just being, a well-respected Lanista. And Batiatus tells him, no woman will have you, no one wants you, you don't have a spine, just shit all over him.
Yeah.
And
And
so this is
Xena's
the
the one
point.
that's like, hey, whoa, we're getting a
Yeah.
little too aggro here. Buddies, friends,
There's
friends.
also a point where Salonius, I don't remember if it's in this episode or the last one, where Salonius says, if shit goes wrong, Xena, you're welcome to come stay with me, and I will also extend that invitation to Lucy Lawless. If anything in your life ever goes wrong,
Absolutely.
you are welcome to come stay with me.
Yes.
But
Our significant
Salonius,
others would understand, right?
yeah, it's fine. It's Xena. Like Xena's on everyone's list. Uh,
Fine
so
wine, as Ronicus would say.
yes. So Salonius makes another pass at Xena. But this is the point where Salonius turns on Batiatus. And so after Vedius leaves, Batiatus goes and finds Spine Salonius and tells him, "What the fuck? We were supposed to split them in." And Salonius finally tells him, "Look, you have shit on me like our entire friendship. Like you treat me like absolute garbage. It is clear to me that you only care about yourself. And if screwing me over would get you ahead in life, you would absolutely fucking do it. So we are done. I'm doing my own thing now. Our friendship is over." Uh, and Batiatus doesn't have a comeback. Like he's like,
Well,
"Well, shit, you called me out on it."
they mentioned that when Salonius buys all of these gladiators from Vedius, Salonius becomes like the biggest ludus essentially in terms of
Yes.
sheer numbers. Like it dwarfs Batiatus.
Yeah, and so the games essentially become uh Batiatus's men versus Salonius's men. And so the deal is, there's going to be a bunch of fights throughout the day, and the winner of each fight, and there are 20 people in the final fight. So this is like a entire fucking day of gladiator battles. And so I think we end up with uh Batiatus had 7 men win, and Salonius had 13 men win. And so they're going to fight in a big Royal Rumble at the end of this episode. Uh, and so it's, I'm trying to think
This is
of like
better
The
than
main
the Royal
event.
Rumble.
The main
Just
event
saying.
is the main event is an inferno match.
yeah. So we get through all of the fights. None of the individual fights are really of note, but we get to the end, and it's 20 people. 20. So presumably there were 20 previous fights in these games. It's 7 from Batiatus, 13 from 13 from Salonius. I guess we should back up a second. Before the actual gladiator games begin, there are executions to welcome everyone to the arena.
Oh, I
And
forgot.
and
Damn it.
and and Maticus, who shows up for the execution? Who gets rolled out there?
Diona. She died. She
Yeah,
dies.
Diona and 3 other, I assume, escaped slaves
Yep.
get brought out, and they're all being killed. Diona is the last to be executed, and before she's executed, she and Navia like make eye contact, stare at each other while crying, and then Diona's executed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh.
moving on.
God, it's no.
Right.
That's actually like a really hard part of the show as well, because they had mentioned probably in one of previous episode or whatever, when Navy is trying to get her out, before she actually escapes, they're talking about, well, if you leave, you're a fugitive slave, and they will come after you and they will find you, and that was part of the reason why Navia gave her all that money, is like, just get on a ship or something, get the fuck out, like, because they're like, Navy was like, I can't go because I am way too important here. You're kind of like, it sounds bad to say, but they won't miss you, so to speak, if you get out
Yeah,
of here. Like you're not
it
someone
won't
that's
be it
on their
won't be
radar.
noticed for a long time if you leave.
Yeah, but somehow she was caught as a runaway slave, and then they do have that moment though where because that character she wanted to basically kill herself because she's like
Yeah,
I don't want to live in this life and blah blah. But it's still sad. They have that sort of acknowledgement of glance moment
yeah.
where
So last episode when Diona escapes, like Navia finds her crying, and Diona says like I would, if they basically like just give me to another gladiator, I want that gladiator to just kill me. I don't want to do this anymore. And Navia says like, no, I can't watch you die. And so she helps Diona escape. And then the following episode, she watches Diona die.
yeah. So Navia, they've set Navia up in this. She's the only like 100% pure good character. Because even Melita, it's like, okay, she's
She's the
starting to
only
have
one
sex with
left.
Gannicus. She starts to, okay, I'm going to cheat on Onomaus, and then she dies, whatever. She's still good. But in terms of like characters where nobody has done anything really bad, I think Navia is the only one that I can
Yeah.
think of.
All right, so we're at the games have concluded. Or we're at the final battle. I'm trying to think of like all of the relevant people because I don't think any of Salonius's men, except for maybe the one giant guy, even get
Yeah.
a name that I don't remember. But it's 13.
Crixus wants Gannicus to stay alive because Crixus is like, it's going to be you and me, buddy. He wants that real,
Yeah,
legitimate fight that they have yet to
wants
have.
proper contest. Yes, and so it's going to be like the final. Whoever wins this big 20-man fight is the champion of Capua. So again, Salonius's men don't matter. They're basically just generic or nameless antagonists. On Badiatus' side, I know we have Crixus, Gannicus, Gnaeus, Dagon, and Asher. And I know there's two more, but I think they're just like nameless
Yeah,
nameless
they're
gladiators.
just nameless gladiators.
It's
So
amazing that Dagon made it this far because they even mentioned in a previous episode, like he can't even see from his right side
yeah,
anymore because
he's
he's blind,
blind on one
but
of
he
both
made it
sides.
all the way to the end. So good on
Yes, and
Dagon.
so we get to the point where uh, most of most of Salonius's men have been killed, and so Crixus and Gannicus kind of start battling, but really it's Asher and Dagon. Like they start fighting while Salonius still has men left, and Badiatus is up in the pulpit. And it's like, what the shit's going on? Like he doesn't know what the fuck their history is. Asher somehow beats Dagon. It, I don't even remember like how. Like surely
It's
he
the
cheated.
oldest trick in the book. He throws dirt in his
Yeah,
eye.
All right,
blinds
yeah,
him.
okay,
Remember,
thank you.
he
Yeah.
Blinds him in his
cheats.
one good eye, kills him. Did we mention that the arena's on fire? There's a ring of fire, and
I
if
did
you
say it was an
If
Inferno match.
if you
Inferno
listen
match,
to
okay, well I don't know
Interrupticus,
if
Steve,
the
you would
three
know
wrestling
that.
fans left in the
Yes,
world got
yes.
that. Uh, so there's a ring of fire, and if you get killed, you're just dead. But they also say that if you get knocked like into the sand beyond the fire, even if you survive, you're out of the match. So that happens to I think Asher and Naeus that happens to. So Asher, so Naeus gets just thrown out, and he's pissed because he can't fight anymore. He's been eliminated from the Royal Rumble. It gets to the point where it's just Salonius's champion, Gannicus, Crixus, and Asher. And Gannicus and Salonius's man are fighting, and Asher's like, "Hey, Crixus, this is our chance. We can go kill them both, and then you and I will settle things." And Crixus says, "Fuck that!" And he does this. I don't even know what he does. He like taps Asher's shin with his sword, and then Asher's leg explodes. Like it looks like he just did this tiny little tap, and then suddenly Asher's bone is sticking out of his leg.
It wasn't really a tap so much as it was a full swing to his
Yeah,
shin bone. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean I would expect Kirkus to just cut that fucking leg off if he tried a full
Well,
swing.
I don't think Crixus
Regardless,
was.
he breaks Asher's chin. Good,
Oh God, did we lose him again?
Matt. I swear
Go
to God.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Keep going, Steve. Keep going.
Okay, you're back.
Anyways, Crixus has no interest whatsoever in allying with Asher, so he breaks Asher's leg and throws Asher out of the ring. and so Asher is now eliminated. Asher and Naeus have survived the battle, but they are no longer a part of it. So it's just Gannicus, Crixus, and Salonius as champion, and they fight. Crixus gets like sliced across the gut and then eliminated. So now it's just
Well,
Gannicus and Salonius.
Gannicus saves Crixus
Yes.
and knocks him out of
Crixus
the ring.
Crixus gets injured, and then Gannicus knocks him out of the way, and then Crixus gets eliminated, but again survives. So three of Badiatus's men have been eliminated, but lived through this. So now it's just Gannicus and Salonius is champion. Gannicus is getting his ass kicked, but he eventually manages to break off the tip of a spear and stab it into the guy's mouth. And then he does this motion where he like rips it out at an angle, and so like this entire guy's jaw is just like flapping in the wind at this point.
Practical effect too.
It's amazing how that one swing is so powerful. It turns this man into a rubber puppet. It's insane. It's like there's just a full force. It's incredible.
So
I appreciated that effect because most of the effects in this seem to be CG, a lot of CG blood. So I liked seeing the face being.
Man, we're not there yet, but there is a scene in Blood and Sand where a man gets his head cut off, and it is so ridiculous looking.
Yeah.
We're like 10 episodes away. We're gonna get there. But yeah, some of the effects in the show don't hold up, but most of the time it's good. And I love this effect where this guy's jaw just explodes out of where this spear was. But Gannicus wins. Gannicus is the champion. He's reveling in the applause of uh of the arena people. And so Casudius and just other people that are up in the Pulvinus with Badiatus are like, oh, Gannicus is amazing. I want him for my games next month. And someone else says, yes, I'm having games too. Please bring Gannicus. And Badiatus is like, yes, I have finally made it. And then Salonius whips out his fucking Uno reverse card. Salonius is like, Spine Salonius is like, hey, you know what would really set these games apart from all the ones that come after it? Grant Gannicus his freedom. And Badiatus is like, excuse me, the fuck you say? And all of the powerful Roman people are like, yeah, that's great. Like Gannicus is the champion. If we like grant him the Rudus, we grant him his freedom, people will never forget these opening games. And they turn to Badiatus and it's like, yeah, you can just train another gladiator, right?
They just brush it off. Like
Badiatus has no choice but to let Salonius win. So like Salonius like gets one up on Badiatus that Badiatus basically never fucking recovers from. So Gannicus is granted his freedom, and so we go back to the Ludus. Gannicus is given the Rudus, this like little wooden dagger with I assume like his feats and conquest inscribed on them. And
does he have to keep that on him at all times, everywhere he goes?
The show says he does. I don't know if historically you had to keep that Rudus on you. Like I don't think that element is true, but yeah, in the second season, like Gannicus like says that if he doesn't keep it on him, you know, he just basically just essentially goes right back into slavery. He has to have it on him at all times.
Yeah, because he would still have the brand on his arm, right? So people could still see he's a slave, so he's got to have that.
Yep.
It seems like someone would steal that. Like it'd be very valuable.
I would not steal anything from Gannicus. That motherfucker will kill you. Anyways, Gannicus is granted his freedom. He comes out and he has like kind of final goodbyes to the other gladiators. Barca like establishes at this point that one day Barca wants his freedom. We'll pick that plot point up next season. Gannicus and Crixus share a moment where Crixus is like, we still have not had proper contest, and so Gannicus tells him, hey, earn your freedom and come find me, and we will have like an actual fight. And also, here is my necklace I've been wearing. This symbolizes that you are the champion of this house. He goes and meets Oenomaus for the last time, and Oenomaus says, or he tells Oenomaus, Melita, he reiterates, Melita loved you more than anyone else. They hug their brothers, and then Gannicus leaves, and so Badiatus and Xena are up in whatever the spectators box of this Ludus, and Badiatus is like, I don't want anyone to mention. First, he says like, I I offered Gannicus money. I told him you will absolutely not be treated like a slave. You can come and go as you please. Like, please, even though you were free, please continue to fight for me. And Gannicus says no, he wants to leave.
I'd
And so
like to
Body,
pause right there real quick.
yeah,
That is something I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen that scene where Gannicus is kind of explaining maybe the reasons why that he doesn't want to stay and continue. And obviously, we could probably infer it's because Melita died there. He doesn't want to be there with all the memories of that and kind of stuff. But I would have liked to have seen one final moment between Badiatus and Gannicus before he headed out the door.
yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy without it, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a deleted scene somewhere. But
Well, you
anyways,
should be sad about it.
well, I'm not. Ploticus is well satisfied. So Gannicus leaves, and Badiata says, like, I don't want anyone to even mention his name in the house in this house anymore. So I guess that explains why no one recognizes that Gannicus exists in season 1, Blood and Sand. Then Xena tells Badiatus, well, we got to find a new champion. How about Crixus? And so that sets up Crixus as the champion of House Badiatus in Blood and Sand. And then Badiatus is like, finally, everything's coming up Badiatus. Like, we are winning. We are the best. One
So
day,
much winning. We're gonna have to
one
lose a
day,
little bit just to remember what it was like.
one day, we are going to get what we deserve. And then it goes back to the end of season 1, where you see Badiatus dead in a pool of his blood, killed by Spartacus. The end. What a fucking series.
Loved it. It's great. Like, it's literally great. I don't know what else to say. It's just fucking great. Ronan, what are your thoughts?
I would say this is my favorite episode of this of God of the Arena.
Same.
Although, yeah,
Same.
even though really I think in my mind it is just more or less just because of this, like the scene where they wall him up inside of the arena. It's like that just sticks with
Yeah,
you.
that is good.
Yeah, that's fucking cold, and that definitely should that solidifies Badiatus as the man he is in season 1. Like that's like 100%. He is there now. So like, but honestly, like I think the last episodes were better. Although this one is still my favorite. I don't think it's the best. It's just my favorite.
It has a really good sort of ending to, like, it leaves, other than that final shot, obviously, it leaves everybody on like a, okay, everything turned out all right. Gannicus got his freedom. Lucretia and Batiatus, they were able to, rise above all these other machinations that were going on. We still got good Salonius, who's going to be a problem out there going forward. But overall, it's kind of a happy ending in a way for some of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, Badiatus gets a couple of good years, presumably, after this.
About 5,
I mean,
right? About 5
well,
good years.
I mean, really, when you remember, this might be spoilers for season 1, but yeah, I don't really think these 5 years were very good to him when you look at how the Ludus is in
Yeah, he's
season
not
1.
doing good at the beginning of Blood and Sand, but I would hope that he had a couple good years in between the two, but who knows? I'm curious though, like I think it would be an interesting experiment to see, like, someone who hadn't seen this show, if we like gave them like an edited version of Gods of the Arena. You basically cut out all of this of the season 1 spoilers. So the opening of episode 1, where we see Badiatus dead, cut out that whole scene. The end of this episode, where we see Badiatus dead, cut out that whole scene. Like, so no season 1 spoilers, and just have someone brand new watch it chronologically, how they would feel. I don't know. I would
No,
like
I,
to see
I,
that
I
happen.
think that's an interesting thing, because I think that, well, again, I'll find out more when I watch these next first 3 episodes of Blood and Sand, because I think we all agree those were probably the weakest episodes we
Yes.
remember of the show. If they're improved at all, if I come out of the next 3 episodes saying, "Wow, those episodes were a lot better than I thought," based on the recency of watching this, I would say start with this, but an edited version of it. Um, but if it turns out those first 3 are kind of shitty, like we remember
Regardless.
them being, regardless, then I'm gonna be like, okay, well, I don't think it matters that much. Although still, Badiatus is such a cool character, and Lucretius is such a cool character. Do you want those characters' deaths spoiled like that right at the beginning of the episode 1? I don't
Well,
know. I think it's a little weird.
Well, if we give them the edited copy of the episode, that wouldn't be a
Right.
thing.
Like in a perfect world where someone was going to go edit out those particular scenes, yeah, I would say go ahead and just start with this first. But I don't think most people are going to be able to do that. They're just going to be like, oh, Gods of the Arena, let me
Yeah.
put it on streaming, and they're going to be like, oh, okay,
Hypothetically,
these
if I
characters.
had the master cut of this that I could fuck around with.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, you mentioned like when we started planning to go through this series, you said that you were going to also watch like the director commentary and whatnot. Was there anything interesting that you picked up going
On
through those?
the DVD set I don't have the Blu-rays of Gods of the Arena. I just have the DVD set of those. I have the Blu-rays of all the others. There were no audio commentaries on any of the episodes. And look, there's a whole disc that's bonus discs, and it's got a bunch of featurettes on it, like here's how they came up with the clothing and blah blah. But on this particular series, no, I've got nothing for this one.
You know whose copies of the Blu-rays of Gods of the Arena do have commentary? This guy's.
Oh, well, did you listen to any of them to contribute?
I did for the first 2 episodes, but then we had to kind of smash all these other ones together. So no,
Whose
Well,
fault is that?
tell us what you learned in the first couple episodes.
honestly, nothing really. Like that,
All right, just fucking cut this whole thing out. I thought this might go somewhere. Clearly, I was wrong.
Leaving it as a point to the listeners of what happens when we put any responsibility on Ronan. This is what happens,
responsibility
folks.
was not put on me. It wasn't like, Ronan, your job is to watch all the audio commentary. It just so happens that I did for the first 2 episodes and did not for the other ones. And in those first 2 episodes, the commentary really doesn't offer any new perspective of like, well, when we were writing the scene, our original goal was to do such and such. But then on the day, no, there's nothing like that.
Well, I am going to watch them because I'm going to assume that there's audio commentaries on all the rest of the Blu-rays as well. I will watch those for this. I just did not have access. I apologize to the listener out there. Sorry.
You should be.
And with that, I think we're done.
Yeah. We're done with Gods of the Arena. We all agree it's awesome. It's great. It's going to be really cool to sort of compare this prequel series against the other seasons, and then maybe at the end just sort of rank each season of where we place everything, because it's going to be real tough. And like I said, only the first 3 episodes of Blood and Sand are the ones we remember kind of being shitty. And I think, if I remember correctly, there's actually an interview with Stephen DeKnight where he even admitted the first 3 episodes sucked. He's like, we kind of fucked up when we were doing all this. We hit our stride later on.
Well, that's true for any TV shows. Like, you look at any show. I remember rewatching Burn Notice a couple of months ago. Uh-oh. Okay, it's a success. I got a warning error. But I remember rewatching Burn Notice a couple of months ago. I was like, yeah, the first 6 or so episodes, a lot different from what the show becomes because they hadn't found their footing yet. And that's true for any show.
Yeah. So stay tuned next Tuesday, maybe, possibly, if Ronan can find any time in his busy, responsible adult life schedule to watch these episodes and be ready for them. But we now will continue episode by episode with Spartacus Blood and Sand, the initial series that got us all into this, and we will see if our memories of it are as good as we hope they are. With that, good night.